The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound. The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
Oh, friends, you don't want to miss this. The $79 Eliminator Sale this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. And yes, you can get a car for $79.
Montgomery, get ready. I wish you could taste how much.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water.
Oh, friends, you don't want to miss this. The
Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. as we start a Thursday. Thank goodness it's Thursday. And, of course, not good news for the Carroll High Eagles. They were taken, they were beaten in the first round of the Final Four.
By Ramsey.
But what a great year for Carroll High and coaches and players.
Coach Henry.
You really played well, and Ramsey evidently is going to be the team to beat. Looks like.
I mean, I don't even know if we should talk about the score. I mean, they got beat by 40-something points. That was a stunner. You know, I think I know sports, and I thought Ozark had a chance to win that game after watching them against Charles Henderson. I don't know what.
They just played the game of the year for them against Charles Henderson, a very good Charles Henderson team that had a 6'8" and 6'6" guy, and then had a guard like Shorts. Boy, they were a good basketball team.
But after seeing that score, I wonder if Charles Henderson could have beaten Ramsey.
Oh, it must have been. Let's just say this: Ramsey scored right at 90 points, something like that, and Charles Henderson Trojans scored 99 in their next to the last game. So, boy, that would have been a real scoring battle. It looks like.
Well, then Charles Henderson girls lost to Guntersville by 8, and we were at the Alabama-Troy baseball game, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But so I didn't follow that game. But I talked to somebody this morning who told me that the girls fell behind 20 points in the first half, Mike.
Yeah,
and they came back. They didn't quit, and they cut it to 5 points, and they ended up losing by 8. So they've had an awful first half, but they won the second half.
But no one any quit in Coach Denacy Jones.
That's right. That's good. That's
team,
good for
no question. Hope you're doing good this morning. We've got a lot to talk about. Bill and I made a little trip up to Tuscaloosa yesterday, and I would call it a barbecue run, wouldn't you?
It was another great day. Beautiful weather. We ate at Jim's.
I had barbecue from my forehead all the way to my face, all over my shirt and everything, but I enjoyed it.
Here's the high points. We went to Jim's barbecue, like we always do, and ate inside Jim's this time, so we didn't have to have that jumbo barbecue sandwich eating it while we were driving. And then we went to see Johnny Williams' brother's new bowling center, and I would call it, but it's a lot more than the bowling center.
Oh boy, yes, it's got everything in it. It's a huge
laser tag, axe throwing, 3D blacklight, putt-putt golf, arcade games, private rooms. Super impressive. And we got a tour from Johnny himself and his brother, who I'd never met.
Steve Williams owns that facility, and you could tell he was awfully proud of it, and it took off, and it's taken off in grand style, I promise you.
Well, he had terrible luck. It's a 53,000 square foot facility just west of Tuscaloosa. I mean, about 2 miles outside of down McFarland. But he said he was open for 5 hours, Mike, when COVID hit, and they shut down. He spent years and all this money fixing this place, and then 5 hours after he opened, he had to shut it down.
Yeah.
And now he's just recently, he's back open, and now it's starting to take off.
Well, it's he's got 36 bowling lanes, so and he's got some private bowling lanes.
I've never seen that. Yeah. He's got a room, a big party room that has eight lanes of bowling just for people that want to have a private party and bowl while they have.
Oh yeah, you watch TV while you bowl too. You know, it's pretty good, no question about it. And
and then let me finish on though. So we've got that. Took us about an hour. And then we still had about an hour before game time, and so we went to the Bryant Museum, which I had quickly been through only one time in my life.
Yeah, that was.
And so we found the parking spot and spent about an hour, and that is a nice museum. You could spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours in there.
Oh, yeah. And then you folks from Carroll High School, it's got sort of a tribute to you. Dexter Witt, Dexter Beck.
Guten Morgen.
No, excuse me. Good
Ellis
morning.
Beck.
You're on Today in L.A. Yeah, how you doing, Mike?
Yeah, your daughter got to see Auburn win the regular season SEC championship game in Starkville last night. Probably didn't get home till about 12:30. They drove back.
So a bunch of women from Birmingham went to see them play.
Yeah, I guess Camille and a bunch of her friends. But man, what a crazy game! Auburn was up by 19 in the first half, cruising up by 12 at the half. Mississippi State comes all the way back, takes the lead. Game goes to overtime, then Auburn wins by 11 in overtime. That's
quite a game, no question about it.
Well, then we didn't stay for the Alabama-Mississippi State, the Alabama-Texas A&M basketball game, which was right next door to the baseball field. It started right when we were leaving, and Alabama was up by 3 at halftime, and then they get blown out at home in the second half.
Yeah, I wonder if Don Maestri knew any of those young guys on A&M. You know, he was at A&M under Billy Kennedy.
Yeah, I bet he did. I would think he did.
Crazy, horrible performance in Tuscaloosa. You're a 9.5 point favorite and you get beat by 17.
Yeah, well, that's bad. Embarrassing.
Alabama's now lost 4 straight to Texas A&M in basketball, I read last night.
Yeah, and they were up.
That's a team that has their number.
Yeah, we saw it. It was they led by 3 points. Alabama led by 3 points at the half, and then it was like a different ball game.
They said the crowd. The story I read said the crowd was dead and sleepy the whole game, and just sounds like an awful deal. But getting back to the Bryant Museum and our Ozark viewers, I guess they change out their displays at museums from time to time, and they've got one now that talks about the integration of Alabama athletics and all sports, but especially in football, it focuses heavily on Wilbur Jackson from Ozark and John Mitchell. Wilbur Jackson was the first black player to get a scholarship at Alabama, and John Mitchell was the first black player to play in the game. So it has a big panel discussing all the key events, but in that panel it also has a big picture of the 3 guys that were on that team with Wilbur Jackson, all of them from Ozark, Alabama. They all started at Alabama.
Ellis Beck, Dexter Wood, and Wilbur Jackson, from all 3 from Carroll High School, started a game at Alabama, which is
rare. That's
pretty rare. And of course, great tribute not only to Wilbur Jackson but Dexter Wood and Ellis Beck. Started for the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
And we went to had to check Bobby Marlowe. And there's lots of pictures and info about the great Bobby Marlowe, and we all knew how great he was here, but I had never seen a picture which is in the museum, a big picture from the Orange Bowl of January 1st, 1953, where Alabama blew out Syracuse.
That's right.
And the picture is 3 players on the sidelines, and those players are Bart Starr, must have been a young Bart Starr, and some player I don't know, and Bobby Marlowe.
Yeah.
So Bobby Marlowe's sitting there, right there, next to NFL Hall of Famer Bart Starr, which I didn't even realize he was on that team.
Yeah, he was a younger player on that team. Albert Elmore was also on that team from right here in Troy, Alabama. So Albert still plays a lot of golf at the Montgomery Country Club, and is one of the people that he's always gathered with a bunch of young people having a good time. He's a real good golfer, and he's very competitive.
I bet he has shot his age or lower more times than anybody in the state of Alabama.
Exactly right.
So Where was the best barbecue yesterday? Jim's or Dreamland?
I don't know. We had at Jim's we just had the sandwiches and they were good, but then when we got to Dreamland we got the ribs. He and I had a whole slab, and it was a lot of barbecue.
For the first time ever.
Y'all went to the original Dreamland again?
Yeah, went to the original Dreamland.
Well, we were tired after a long day, and we were going to try to find this Archibald's, which somebody told us, Steve told us is also, there's two Archibalds, and one of them actually goes by the name Woodrow's, or it says the same family, but I wasn't sure I could find it.
Have you ever heard of Woodrow's, Mike?
Yeah, I think that's the one out towards 69 heading to Jasper.
But it was, I didn't want to risk not being able, he says it's a hole-in-the-wall type place, and he says very good, but I knew where Dreamland was, and so we went back to Dreamland, and for the first time of all the times I've been to the original Dreamland, I have only thing I've ever gotten is slab of ribs and white bread. Well, they do have a few side orders, and for the first time we got them, I got the potato salad, and then Mike got coleslaw and baked beans, and I can report that I had the potato salad and some of Mike's coleslaw, and they were very good.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, they have banana pudding at that location too. That's really good.
Yeah.
I used to go in there with a bunch of liquor reps back in the day, and we had bottles to give Big John's brother. Big John's brother would always put the best ribs to the side for his best customers.
Yeah.
And we would get falling off the bone ribs that were some of the best I'd ever had. But I can't tell you how many times I've been there. And for the longest time outside, some Troy fan put the sticker out there, the big bumper sticker, anytime, anywhere, Troy University football. And that sat out there, I'd say, for at least 2 years in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, of all places. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I'll tell you, an oddity of our Jim's visit is, they bring you the sauce, and they're famous, Dreamland's famous for the sauce. And then they're about 8 pieces of white bread before your slabs, and so you dip that white bread in the sauce. That's really good. Well,
you call it white bread, and I call it light bread.
Okay.
Light bread. Yeah.
Well, it's hot, it's spicy, and it was a little hotter and spicy than I remember, but it was a good change of pace. I liked it. But Mike said, no, it's too spicy. And if you know Mike, he's going to tell you what he thinks about what he wants when he's eating, correctly so. So he told the owner, who was our waiter and cooking the ribs, this is too hot and too spicy. And he said, well, you got a mild sauce? He said, nah. He said, but I tell you what, the sauce, they warm it up. It's hot.
Yeah.
But he said, I can get you some cold sauce, and that somehow affects the spiciness of it. So he went back and got Mike a big old bowl of just the same sauce, but cold. He said it was better.
I can't believe you were arguing with the owner of Dreamland, of all places.
No, I didn't argue with
He
him.
politely did it. He was not arguing.
I would have not had anything to help you with if I was the owner of Dreamland.
Well, he was very nice about it.
He's not worried about customers.
No, he's not. And let me tell you, it would be too hot for a lot of people, but it was just right. It really was.
The one he brought you.
Do we have early concerns about Troy baseball? I mean, you're not being competitive at all against the big boys.
Well, let me just say what.
Auburn blows you out, and Alabama's got a perfect game going into the seventh inning against you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what Rice and I did, and of course we got there at the very beginning, and Troy, the Alabama pitcher retired 19 batters in a row.
Had a perfect game going into the second batter in the seventh inning.
And I told Rice, I said we were ready to go home because Troy led trailed around 8-0, and which was the final score. And I told Rice, I said, one thing we ought to do is at least stay there and see if this kid pitches a perfect game. He had a perfect game going through 7 innings.
How many times have you seen a perfect game in person?
Yeah, and I said, I've never, you're right, very few times. And we waited around. And thank goodness Troy got a hit in the seventh or eighth inning.
Troy got 3 hits in the ninth and scored a run, so the final score was 8-1.
And then
Alabama's star pitcher was Jacob McNary, but Troy did have 4 hits when it was all said and done.
Yeah, they took him out in the seventh inning. I think he just gave up one run.
One hit.
Boy, he pitched a gem.
This guy, remember that name, Jacob McNary?
Yeah, he was good.
Perfect game against Troy through into the seventh inning, and Mike tells me that he pitched a week ago against Texas, which always has a great program, and he lost, but only 1-0. So he gave up 1 run to Texas. So this guy is obviously.
So Alabama throws their ace. Who in the world did Troy throw?
Troy threw about
pitcher by committee.
Guess what, Mike? And you're not gonna believe. You know our left fielder, what a great player he is.
Number 21.
You know, from
Mosley?
Yeah, Mosley. All right. Did you know that Mosley did not even play in the game?
Well, he came in and pitched late.
And he came in the last inning, or eighth inning, and he pitched. He was pitching, and he
got hurt.
Well, no, he's not.
We talked to him when we were leaving. He was in the bullpen, and Mike, he said, "Hey, 21, why aren't you playing?" And he told you. What did you say?
And he said he said he thought that he wanted him to pitch, so he had to wait for his.
Since he was going to pitch 1 inning, he didn't want him to play in the field. So he's obviously this guy like this guy from Japan that tore up the major leagues last year. He can pitch and play in the field and hit, but he didn't play in the field.
But Mike,
Rigsby Mosley is the only all-conference player Troy has on the team.
And Mike, they brought him in to pitch to 2 batters, and he retired 2 batters, and
that was it.
And that was it. But I mean, here you got your best baseball player, without any doubts, the best baseball player on the field for Troy, and he's not even playing.
That is strange.
Yeah.
Well, let's tell. We got lots of funny stories that I think.
Skylar, if you're listening this morning, I know you have a reason for it, and I don't know. It just surprised me that he wasn't playing.
We left in the 8th inning. That's when we talked to number 21. Mike did.
Yeah.
So we're walking out. We walked by all the fans. All the fans sit in the grass in right field where they let you have coolers and even beer. So you have more people sitting out in blankets and
I bet there was
lawn chairs than you do
students
in the
out there.
bleachers. So we walked by them, and then we parked. I finally found the place in Mike's truck over by the law school, and we're walking back to our car, and Mike's got his headphones on. He listens to the game on the radio, and he turns and he says to me, "Oh, Alabama's hit another home run." And we're right at the corner, getting ready to cross the street over to the law school. I said, "Well, I heard the crack and I heard the roar of the crowd." And then Mike says, "They just hit another home run." Then I look to my left and I see a little baseball trickling in the road.
In the road.
The guy had hit it over everybody into the road, and it's about 40 yards from me. And the ball's rolling down the street, and nobody's going after it. So I ran, and I got the home run.
He stopped traffic.
And I got a home run ball that I took home to Jackson.
And you know that boy probably was looking for that ball. Said, that's the longest home run ever hit.
You might can get some money for it, right?
Yeah. So if anybody knows the kid that hit the home run, Rice got the baseball. And
well, I gave it to Jack, and he was asleep when I got home, but I left it in the kitchen, and he was so excited to get it this morning.
I tell you what, I've got a brand new baseball that I found very similar to that. And what we'll do, we'll swap out. It's actually a newer ball. We'll swap out and find out who hit that home run. He'd probably love to have that ball.
Well, it might
we could get a student or somebody from
It might
Troy.
be a guy that's hit 20 home runs and it's no big deal to him, but it might have been his first home run.
Yeah.
You're right. We didn't find out.
You never know. Like the university might trade you like some merchandise, like caps and autographs, jerseys.
Well, yeah. In fact, I bought you a cap, Mike, and
good looking cap.
Sad story yesterday. Former TCU player who was paralyzed against Alabama passed away. Kent Waldrop. Tell that story, right?
That's right.
We talked about it on the had some great conversation going up there, and I mentioned that to Mike that Kent Waldrop was a football player for TCU that was a running back that was tackled by Alabama on a normal play on the sidelines of the game in 1974 at Legion Field. I happened to be at the game with my dad, and was paralyzed from the chest down. And he ended up being a very close friend to Coach Bryant, who took a keen interest in his and checked on him in his hospital. And he became a big Alabama fan, sent his kids to school at Alabama, and so a lot of Alabama people remember the story of Kent Walker.
He lived a pretty good life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was, a pretty good life because he was paralyzed, but he lived quite a few years.
He became a great advocate for people with disabilities and the Americans with Disabilities Act, and yes, he did a lot with his life. And sadly, I think he was 66. 65. He passed away yesterday.
Would have mentioned Carroll of Ozark lost yesterday 84-45. Played a really good Ramsey team out of Birmingham. Ramsey forced 22 turnovers. Went on a 22-6 run in the second quarter, and the game was over. The kid that was on the show, though, for Ozark had, I think, 24, 25 points. Dawkins.
Yeah, he's a good player. You're right.
So he scored half of Ozark's points.
I tell you again, congratulations to Carroll High, though, for making it to the Final Four.
Great year. They won 27
Broke
games.
It would have been hard for Charles Henderson, to even play that well with Ramsey as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, but one thing.
Ramsey must be really good, but Ramsey lost 9 games. Yeah. So how did they lose 9 games?
Of course, this is a Charles Henderson team that had beaten Carroll High by 20 points 2 different times during the regular season, and then did not play well and lost by 2 points, 3 points, to go for the right to go to the state playoffs, which is quite an honor.
Well, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jack, who got a baseball. He told me this morning that the big news yesterday was that Coach Summerall and several Troy University football players visited the kindergarten in Troy Elementary School yesterday and talked about Troy football and signed autographs and took pictures. And Jack was all excited to meet those football because Jack's learning to catch and throw. He's getting real interested in football, and so it was a big thrill for him to have real football players and the coach. But I thought that's a good sign when your head football coach is going over and
to your elementary school
trying to get support for the program. That's the same type thing Don Maestri did over and over when he first came to Troy.
Yeah, well, that's what Coach Brown did too. Summerall was here under Brown, and he's following a lot of what Brown did in the community and getting out and about, being around these kids at the schools and bringing his players around. I mean, that's what you got to do as a head coach. I'm excited to see it as well. I watched all that on TroyTrojans.com. Of course, Charles Henderson girls fell 68-60 after being down 36-16 in the half. I tell you, Coach Denise Jones' team really played well in the second half.
That's what I gather too. I mean, down by 20, they lose the first half by 20, and then they win the second half by 12. So it's just a case of a bad quarter or half. It was gotten a hole too deep to dig out of. But they cut it to at 1.5 points. Somebody told me.
Well, like Gunnersville, from what I've read, has a big size advantage over Charles Henderson. Of course, Charles Henderson has a great player in Hobby who scored, I think, 26, 28 points.
He is a great player.
Yeah, he sure
what
is.
Is she just a junior? Or sophomore?
I think she's going to be.
She's a sophomore this year, I think.
Marie, who was at Davenport, got all the. She was being recruited by everybody in America, but I think Hobby is going to be a blue chip prospect next year.
And again, our congratulations to Charles Henderson. They made it to the Final Four of girls basketball, and great honor for not only for those players.
And if Hobby's coming back next year, they should have a chance to get back again next year.
That's right.
Coach Jones said about our players, they hate to lose. They want it more than anybody. If you say they can't do it, and they hear that a lot, they're going to try even harder. Coach Jones was talking about how proud she was of her team. But Gunnersville looks like a team that could probably win it all. So Charles Henderson might have got that beat by the best team in the state. So Gunnersville will play Leah Huntsville
course, we want to congratulate Brantley. They were defeated in the tournament by a team from Decatur called Decatur Heritage, but Gilcrease and the boys
Brown and Shine.
played them awfully good. Yes, sir. Brown and Shine, and
I wonder what class Brown and Shine are.
Yeah.
I like the way that ring. That's a certain ring to that.
I'll tell you another little thing, you folks from Brantley. The Gilcreases are not gone yet. John Harper Gilcrease is a freshman on that team, 5'10". So it's right now he's got a little growing to do. But hey, look for John Harper Gilcrease, the young freshman, to be a star of his own in baseball, basketball, and football.
You know when
interesting uniforms for Charles Henderson yesterday. They played in black.
Oh, really?
Charles Henderson played. They had black shorts, black jerseys with orange numbers.
Did you watch some of that game?
No, I'm looking at it on AL.com.
Yeah.
I didn't know Charles Henderson had black jerseys and shorts. Interesting. I've never seen that before, Charles Henderson. But Charles Henderson also, I was reading, they actually cut it to 4 at one time. So they had an unbelievable comeback in the 4th.
Yeah.
Wow. They didn't quit, and that's what I like. It's like the Charles Henderson boys. The boys were down 12 or 14 against Ozark in the first half, and just everything was going wrong for them, and they settled down and took the lead in the second half. The game was tied going into the fourth quarter, so they showed a lot of competitive spirit. I always like that when teams don't just
don't just lay down. You're right, no question about it.
Everybody's wondering why Bruce Pearl got a lifetime contract at Auburn. I mean, the guy is now Auburn basketball. Think of this. Think of the Auburn basketball we grew up with. Out of the last 5 years, Auburn's won over 24 games 4 times.
Oh, man. He's a great coach.
What a program.
Yeah. And
that's really hard to believe. I mean, the Auburn I grew up with.
Yes.
I know Sonny Smith had a good run, and Cliff Ellis, I guess, had a good run, but ended up putting Auburn on probation. But, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
And he's doing it against some really good SEC basketball is getting much better than it was 15, 20 years ago. The league is a lot deeper, and Auburn still, Auburn and Kentucky are the best 2 teams from the last 5 years for sure.
Mike, I tell you, we talked a lot about teams from North Alabama being very good in basketball, and sure enough, this Covenant Christian Eagles out of Tuscumbia, Alabama, they beat highly favored Autaugaville by 6 points to advance to the finals today, and they've got a kid that is 6'10". His name is Haston Alexander, and he's 6'10", and looks like he is really an outstanding player on that team. From Covenant Christian out of Tuscumbia.
We've got, I'm looking at, Steve gave us the schedule for the remaining basketball games, and Enterprise plays this morning against Spain Park at 10:30. So good luck to the Enterprise Wildcats, 23-6 versus Spain Park, 27-7.
Enterprise is in a unusual position of a team that kind of has nobody around them in 7A.
That's right.
Enterprise really has only one rival that's close in Dothan.
Now, Dothan High 7A, are they 7A?
Yeah. I mean, Dothan and Northview merged. So, I mean, they're a big 7A.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
They have really no rival at 7A around them. It's kind of one of those weird places in South Alabama where there's really just not many, 7A schools. So if they could represent the South in the Wiregrass and win against the Spain Park, well, that'd really tell you something.
Yeah,
you're right. I hadn't thought about that. How many 7A teams are there south of Montgomery? I mean, you would have Enterprise, Dothan, then I guess
then the Mobile schools.
Maybe 3 or 4 in Mobile. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really strange, actually, if you really think about it.
And there's about 40 or teams in 7A classification, but so you got 90% of them are in North Alabama.
And want to congratulate the Highland Home Flying Squadron. They finished the season 28-6. But buddy, what a year for Highland Home and their coach Johnny Mitchell, and did a wonderful job with that team. Of course, they've had several players that were outstanding for this team from Mars Hill Bible, who had actually, Mike brought this up yesterday, had a losing record. They were 14-16 coming into the game, but I don't know. They must play good when the tournament.
They might play some good competition.
That's right, but they're located in Florence, so they're right there with.
Sounds like the officials really got involved in that game. He called 6 charges on Highland Home.
Oh boy!
And then Coach Mitchell, I mean, for him to put that in the article, he felt like those guys were flopping, and the refs kept on making those calls, and then his big guy got in foul trouble, then ended up getting a technical foul late in the game. I read Highland Home was up by 7 with 5 minutes left.
Oh me!
So it sounds like a really tough loss. And, they went all the way to the 4th round of the playoffs in football this year too. So Highland Home's athletics.
Yeah, they really are. They've done a great job, and I know their coaches are awfully proud of them. And
well, this is like Brantley too. Brantley made it to the Final Four in basketball, and in football they made it to the 3rd or 4th round.
Now hear this, Mike. You're not going to believe this. There is not but one senior on that team. Everybody else comes back next year.
For who? For
Highland Home.
Oh.
No, wait a minute. No.
You're looking at Mars Hill?
Mars Hill, a young team. Can you believe that? And the Highland Home, these are the seniors.
Well, I'm also going to be watching this morning the results from Auburn versus Vestavia Hills girls.
Yeah.
Because my friend Wes Gaylord's daughter is a key player, only a 9th grader for Vestavia Hills, and I've read up on them, and they have got 4 freshmen that are playing big minutes already, and one of them is Jill Gaylord, who actually played last year on the varsity as an 8th grader. So you would think that Vestavia Hills for the next 3 years is going to be a powerhouse in girls basketball.
Oh yeah.
When you talked to Coach Cross the other day and sat down and talked about basketball, I would have asked him about this Dawkins kid out of Ozark. He scores 24 points.
Yeah.
Apparently a bunch of highlight reel dunks. Why in the world are we letting him go all the way to Florence to UNA?
I know.
And Troy is not signing him in basketball. I'm kind of shocked by this.
Too late. He's already signed on the dotted line.
Yeah.
He would have to transfer.
I mean, but you could commit. The paperwork's already been done and everything?
I think he was an early signee. I might be wrong, but yeah.
They've already signed those guys, I think.
I think they had a signing ceremony for him, so.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of shocking to me. This kid's big, tall, 6'4" guard, isn't he?
About 6'3".
Yeah, that's right.
He wears Michael Jordan's number, and he plays like Michael Jordan.
And he can leap. He had a great leap.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They said he had 3 or 4 highlight reel dunks.
Yeah.
He made a move against Charles Henderson early in the game where he just, it's called a spin move, where he spun around the Charles Henderson player, and the Charles Henderson player just like never knew he was there. And then he got around him. But that got him to the goal, but he was under the goal, so he couldn't really shoot a layup. Well, he throws it up and puts spin on it, on a reverse layup, and it goes in.
Yeah.
And right then,
I know all of Troy's guards are young. They're all coming back. So, I mean, maybe that's the reason. Maybe he feels like he needs some recruits in other spots.
Yeah.
the only thing I can think about him is that he hit 1 3-pointer against Troy, but he didn't take many 3-point shots. And he's not really tall enough to be a forward, but he is a penetrating what we call a big guard, a number 2 guard.
Right. Yeah.
But, I feel like Charles Henderson's got some kids that play at the next level too. I don't know if
Sure, it's their guard. Their guard is good.
But you can definitely go to junior college and come back and play at a Troy.
And like I said, Shorts is an outstanding player on that team. I did make a mistake. Highland Home has 5 seniors on their team, and but still has a real nucleus of outstanding players coming back next year.
Yeah, usually in basketball, the great teams you see are usually senior-led. It seems like in high school.
Yeah.
That's kind of, high school basketball might be better to watch than college because you can watch the kids progress from freshman to senior. They stay on the same team. In college, these teams don't fit together. I mean, your best players might be there 2 years if you're lucky.
But it's again, they made it all the way to the Final Four, and now the Enterprise Wildcats are our only team in the Wiregrass that is still in the tournament, and they've got their big game, like Mike said, against a very good team from Birmingham.
Well, what we're
Of
going
course,
to
we got the Sun Belt tournament starting today down in Pensacola. I guess Dad and I will be there on Saturday at some point.
We'll be signing autographs down there, Mike, on Saturday.
I just hope Troy can find a way to beat a really good South Alabama team. I'm just going to go ahead and give South Alabama the win over Arkansas Little Rock. So those are going to be games that I would think would draw a pretty good crowd. I imagine Troy's going to have a lot of people in South Alabama, have a lot of people, probably one of the biggest crowds of the tournament, I would think.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Might be the biggest, except for that might be the biggest.
And a good time. What time?
Today, UT Arlington against Louisiana Lafayette. So Lafayette is a 3.5-point favorite in that game. After that, you'll have South Alabama Little Rock. Tells you what they think of South Alabama and Vegas. South Alabama is a 12.5-point favorite over Little Rock.
Yeah.
Arkansas State is probably the best team that has to play today out of the Sun Belt. They're 17-10 and play Louisiana Monroe. Slight favorite though, only 5.5.
Yeah.
So you could watch 3 games in Pensacola today if you wanted to.
Yeah.
If you're a basketball junkie, these tournaments are great, aren't they? If you're retired, like somebody like Coach Hillier, people like that just love basketball, they would do that, wouldn't they? They would just go and watch basketball.
A lot of them would, yeah.
How would you do as Troy's coaching staff? Would you already be down there, or would you just send some coaches tonight?
No, they told me they told me they're leaving today to go down.
Well, surely they're going to have some coaches there watching South Alabama. I would think.
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
We passed the team bus on the baseball bus going up there and coming back.
Yeah.
The Troy baseball team.
I also want to mention this: Jacksonville State, who Troy beat 3 overtimes, is playing in their tournament today. They're playing Kennesaw State, but Jacksonville State is 20-9. They've had a great season. Bucky, McMillan, and Stanford are 20-9. UAB's 22-7. Alabama's 19-10, I think now, or 11. Auburn's 25-3 or 4. South Alabama's 19-10. There could be every single one of these teams in the state. Division I could have over 20 wins this year.
What do you?
Great observation there.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Well, I mean, South Alabama goes for 20 wins today. If Troy beats South Alabama, that'd be 20 wins for Troy. UAB's already at 20 wins. Stanford's at 20 wins. Jacksonville State's at 20 wins. Alabama, I don't know. I think LSU will probably beat them in Baton Rouge this weekend, but I think Alabama will eventually get to 20 wins somehow. Maybe that's determined. But really incredible basketball this year.
Mike, UAB, you said they won 22 games?
Yeah, Andy Kennedy's done a great job.
Yeah.
Since he's been there.
Now, so would you say they can compete against most anybody in the state?
Except for Auburn.
They're like top 50 net rankings. UAB's got an outside chance of being at large.
Yeah.
I think they would be in that large even if they don't win their tournament.
Who is the top team in their league, Mike?
North Texas. North Texas went to the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah. In fact, one of our coaches at Troy played for North Texas. I was talking to him the other day. Played for the Mean Green, so they must have a good program there.
I can remember the Mean Green out coming to Troy and playing football. They used to be in our conference, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Sure did.
That's where Greg McElroy went to a high school that was right near that college. I'll tell you some trivia for our women viewers that like the TV, the cooking show, The Pioneer Woman. She's kind of well-known, famous, and become kind of like bigger than Martha Stewart. She has 2 sons and 2 daughters, and the 2 sons are both really good football players. I've watched them grow up watching this show, and one of them is now a freshman quarterback at North Texas State.
Huh.
She's from Oklahoma.
Yeah, okay. Of course, you folks going to the basketball game Saturday, there'll be a bunch of the alumni planning on meeting at that famous restaurant down there, Mike, that everybody likes.
McGuire's.
Yeah, McGuire's pub is a real great place for them to meet. So just try to get down there early and go by and have lunch at McGuire's, and then come on over to the ball game. I think it's all in walking distance.
It's not much of a drive to Pensacola from Troy. You go through Greenville, take the shortcut through Greenville, and then hit I-65, and then cut over, south of Atmore. Bobby used to live in Pensacola, and so I made that trip several times. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes at the most to get to Pensacola.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's an hour and 30 minutes from Drayton, where I live.
Mike, a team that from the Wiregrass where we have not talked about, and we should have, is Houston Academy. The Rebels are the Raiders. Houston Academy Raiders have a good basketball team, and they're representing the Wiregrass, coached by Scott Whitaker. So I didn't. Then listen to this, Mike. Ian Coachman and Ethan Coachman are 2 players on that team. Ian is a senior, and Ethan is a junior. But that's the famous Coachmans from Houston Academy, and the Coachmans came out of.
Well, the famous Coachmans came from Cottonwood.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. They at one time went to Cottonwood to school. But I tell you what, somebody's done some recruiting at Houston Academy for them to have made it all the way to the Final Four.
The 3A, that's another former private school that's now it's been in the public school league forever. It was in the public school league back when Jim Farmer played for them, I think.
And they play the Plainview Bears from North Sand Mountain, Mike. North Sand Mountain, the Plainview Bears. And they've got quite a team. They've got a kid, Mike, that is quite. Everybody's looking at is their 6'6" forward. A guy named Landon White is a big addition to that team, and always good. These teams from North Alabama. So we're going to see if our Raiders from Houston Academy can do the trick. In the first round, in the semis.
All right, why don't we take a break?
Well, we'll right now. We'll be back to Today in L.A. Just after this.
Oh, friends, you don't want to miss this. The $79 Eliminator sale this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. And yes, you can get a car for $79. Done deal. Or $79 down or $79 a month. Get there and pre-register at 8 a.m. At 9:45, we open the gates, find the vehicle you're in love with, and you'll have first chance when the Eliminator comes around at 10 a.m. sharp, slashing prices. Don't worry about the weather. Just be there. Call right now for details. 334-403-4646. It's this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. Don't miss it.
Montgomery, get ready for WWE Saturday Night's main event. The women of Raw take center stage as big-time Bex, the EST, and the Nightmare collide for the Raw Women's Championship. Plus,
I am a revolutionary. I am a visionary.
Seth freaking Rollins. It's WWE Saturday Night's main event, April 23rd. Tickets and Superstar Experience packages on sale now.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain Grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio, just off the square in Troy.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy area in our all-new outpatient facility. Dr. Lauren Thorington, along with our team of certified breast specialists, read your mammograms, which are performed by our registered radiologic technologists, bringing the best in women's healthcare to the Troy area. Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
You don't see that every day.
Back to our show, brought to you by Troy Bank and Trust Company. Remember, Troy Bank and Trust Company is the only bank you'll ever need. And also want to mention Bird Drugs on the corner of downtown Troy. They got the best breakfast in town. Cracked eggs, ladies and gentlemen, I mean scrambled eggs that are cracked with delicious grits and toast and ham and all the good things.
We talked about our barbecue pilgrimage, which only included 2 barbecue restaurants this year.
We started off
when Mike picked me up before we left. He had gone to Bird Drugs and got some sausage biscuits. You know, the best thing I might have had all day yesterday was the sausage biscuit from Bird Drugs.
Yeah, the actual.
I like you got me a patty one and a link one.
Yeah.
And that link one was just full of about 4 link sausages, and that might have been the best thing I had.
It was a nice little snack breakfast, and we were off and running all the way to Tuscaloosa and had a good time, and saw some good things, and of course, in baseball, it's all you have to do is wait till the next day, and you're liable to go out there and you might have a pitcher throw a no-hitter at them.
If you get beat 8-1, it's not the end of the world.
Interesting how Sewell Thomas and Coleman Coliseum are right next to each other, so y'all probably saw a huge crowd of people around when y'all were leaving.
Well, you're right, and they're parking for basketball. It takes up all of the other parking availabilities.
It was hard to find the parking spot because they blocked off all the parking spaces right next to Coleman Coliseum to save them for the basketball fans. I guess they probably sell those parking spaces.
Yeah.
So we couldn't, like last time we went to an Alabama-Troy place, it was no problem finding a parking place. We just parked right next to Coleman Coliseum by, the right field, center field of the baseball field. They wouldn't let us park there, so we had to go drive across the street over there by the law school.
Next time you're in Birmingham, go by and see a nice picture of the 3 Ozark guys, Wilbur Jackson, Dexter Wood, and Ellis Beck. All 3 of those folks.
Not Birmingham, but Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, Tuscaloosa, excuse me. Next time you're in Tuscaloosa, go by and see the Bryant Museum and see a picture in that Bryant Museum. Like I said, Ellis Beck, Dexter Wood, and Wilbur Jackson, 3 great ones.
We saw some pictures of Bill Rice Sr. too in there too.
If you want to have a fun day, you can just get a room at the Capstone Hotel and go watch a baseball game, and then go watch Alabama play Texas A&M in basketball. A true Alabama fan would have had a blast doing that yesterday.
I had not seen that picture of Bart Starr and Bobby Marlowe, but I saw a picture of my father I had never seen.
That's right.
We clicked on the 1961. They have all the teams on some kind of digital screen. You can click on the screen, and then you get the names of all the players. Then you can click on that name. You get a little bio info about the player and some pictures. Well, the 2 pictures of Dad are one of him catching the only touchdown pass he ever caught in the game. I've seen that picture because it was in the Alabama yearbook, the Corolla. But there's a picture of Coach Bryant coming down the steps of the airplane before the Bluebonnet Bowl in 1960 when Alabama played Texas, and all the players are wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah, that's right.
And Coach Bryant is wearing a cowboy hat. Well, the guy standing right next to Coach Bryant coming down the flight of the airplane is my dad, cowboy hat.
Wow, did you get emotional seeing that? That had to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that I thought I'd seen all the cool pictures of my dad, but I hadn't seen that.
Did you see the director of the Bryant Museum? Did you tell him who your dad was?
Well, at the beginning, Rice walked in ahead of me, and when I walked in there, I told the lady, I said, this guy's dad was on the 61 national championship team. She went to her computer, and she said, what was his name? I said Bill Rice. She said, come on in.
Saved us about $10.
Your uncle was there how many years?
Yeah, he was there about 15. He was director of athletic facilities, so he was in charge of the football stadium and basketball arena and cutting the grass.
Does he still live in Tuscaloosa?
He passed away, but he lived in Tuscaloosa for 45 years.
Yeah.
He married a Tuscaloosa girl, so Tuscaloosa became home for Uncle Bobby.
Yeah. And Bobby Rice, Uncle Bobby was a real outstanding athlete on the 1953 and 54 Troy High School teams.
Well, you know, he ran track, but he was a great athlete. I bet he could have been a college athlete in some sport.
Yeah.
But he couldn't play football because when he was about 10 or 11 years old as a child, he fell playing some game that got you real dizzy, and he fell real hard and hit his head and had a terrible head injury that almost killed him. And after that, doctor said you cannot play any contact sport the rest of your life. So Uncle Bobby, who was 6'3", fast, and looked like an athlete, he never got to play basketball or football, and I know he could have been good.
The Escambia County Blue Devils of Atmore, Alabama, they're 26 and 4, and they'll be playing Haleyville, a team from up north. So we'll get a look at the quality of basketball, Mike, in North Alabama compared to South Alabama.
Yeah, we got golf. Arnold Palmer Classic going on in golf. It started already right now in Bay Hill.
Yeah, that's famous.
Of course, Detroit women play tomorrow as well. We need to remember that. They're
yeah.
the NCAA tournament.
And they've won 9 straight too.
Yeah, regular season conference champions. So they're guaranteed, I think, the women's NIT at least. I mean, you know, Coach Rubin, these players want to go and play for it all.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if they can just keep it going for 3 more games.
The girls beat Auburn yesterday in basketball as well, so Alabama is still in the SEC women's tournament. Auburn's season is over.
You know, you mentioned something yesterday, Mike, about Auburn's great tradition in women's basketball. They were a power for a long time, probably a top 5 team for a long time, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when Joe Champy was there,
Yeah.
They played for a national championship one time, I remember, and they barely lost. It's kind of like the heartbreaker they lost in men's basketball. Auburn's lost some heartbreakers. I mean, they lose in women's basketball where they had a chance to win it all. They lost they lost in the Final Four game, the semifinal game, right, in basketball, but they lost to the eventual national champions in a game they had won. And then against FSU in football in Malzahn's first year, they almost really had that game won and could have won a national championship.
45 seconds left, and Florida State drives the length of the field and scores a touchdown. Pretty amazing.
So that's the nature of sports. We talk about it every day here, but it's the thrill of victory and the agony of you got to take both of them, I guess. If you're going to enjoy the victories, you got to.
I'm around all these Florida State fans down here, and I always try to let them know. I'm like, shoot, I won a national championship, less than 10 years ago.
Yeah. You know, Troy went down there and was in a foot of beating them down there. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah, a long drive at the very end of the game. This big fullback from Florida State, I think about 3 or 4 times, ran it right up the gut. Troy couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I remember that well. No,
That was the game where Bobby Bowden made some comment afterwards about Troy, about how he didn't know why we were playing him.
Well, he probably was.
And then Jacksonville State beats them this year as a 1AA program. Jacksonville State almost had beaten them 3 other times before that as well.
That's right. You're right. Jacksonville
Crazy.
put them tough.
How many teams in the state of Alabama played them off their feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't forget that. I'm no fan of Jackson State, but going down and beating Florida State in football is that's quite a feather in your program's cap.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to call y'all back. I got to take this little one to school.
Okay, take care. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're commenting this morning on Rice and I's trip to Tuscaloosa yesterday, and how much fun we had. And I know it had to be a lot of personal pride to look there among all those greats, and there your dad's picture was right there.
You know, really.
Bill Rice, who came on this show, was on this show. Of course, we've been running this show since 1998, but he was on this show many times, and especially when I had the great Bud Casey on the show with us, and boy, we had some good times with your dad.
Bud Casey, man, he was a teammate. He played at Alabama for 2 years. People forget that.
Oh, yeah.
He did, and he was a great player in high school, and Dad says he was a great player at Alabama. Said he wasn't quick enough to play defense like Coach Bryant. He was probably too big, and but as an offensive lineman, Dad said Bud Casey was just outstanding, as good as anybody.
He weighed 250 pounds when he got to Alabama. 250, that was a giant back then. But the first thing Coach Bryant said to him when he stepped in the building was, "You're going to have to lose 25 pounds."
Well, that was Coach Bryant's thing back then. He wanted you as thin and quick as you could be, and sometimes he would have a weight, and if you didn't make the weight, I think he gave you a little chance after that to make it, but if you still didn't make it, you were off the team.
All right. Let's look at some of those. All those great Alabama linemen back then. If you notice, they had real strong legs. Take a look at them. They had thighs and legs, so they worked a lot on being able to come off the ball and knock people off the ball.
I've been struck by the number of linemen I saw that had good careers at Alabama. We're talking early 60s here, mid 60s, that came to Alabama as running backs. They made them offensive linemen. So I guess they were athletic.
Yeah.
Offensive linemen.
Oh yeah, and we're looking at a lot of the high schools.
Dad was his senior year he played his first couple of years as a tight end on offense.
Yeah.
And then he kept growing and putting on weight, and so they made him an offensive tackle his senior year.
Yeah.
But you think about what did Dad play at Troy High School on offense?
Well, he played fullback.
Fullback. He was another running back.
A 6'5" fullback, and I saw him play against Robert E. Lee of Montgomery, and he was the fullback, and he gave them fits. They won the game 13-0.
You don't see many 6'5" fullbacks.
Yeah.
Speaking of tall people, were you struck yesterday by Alabama's first baseman?
Yeah,
we were sitting right by him.
He's 6'8", and was a good player. Boy, he had some swing. Yeah. In that game, Alabama had a record 7 doubles.
Is that right?
7 doubles. And then they had 3 home runs. So
this big 6'8" guy. I had seen 6'8" people that were pitchers. There was some dominant pitcher from about 25 years ago. Remember that guy that was almost unhittable? That was about 6'9".
Oh yeah.
But in the field, I just cannot think of. I can't think of one first baseman, third baseman, second baseman that was 6'8" in my life. And Alabama has a first baseman that is 6'8". So it'd be hard to overthrow that guy on first base.
Oh yeah. Of course, Alabama was very good, and their pitcher, gosh, I've forgotten his name.
It's Jacob
McNary or something. Yeah.
They call him J-Mac.
And let me tell you, he knew how to pitch. He also really was a great athlete. Did you see he almost lost his no-hitter earlier when just a short ground ball to the third base side of the field, and he went and grabbed it and jumped high up, and just like a basketball player would, and threw him out.
He made a play. Sometimes a player will hit a ball into the ground right by the plate, and it takes a huge hop, and it's almost like a little fly ball, and so it slows. Well, they did that, and he was pitching, and so the ball bounced way up. You had to wait for it to get down, and so you think, well, the runner's going to beat it out. But he caught that ball and got it out of his glove and threw that guy out at first base, like, boom.
Yeah, sure was.
And you're right. You say that guy is an athlete.
As we said at the top of the show, this pitcher for Alabama retired the first 19 batters. That probably is a record at Alabama right there. Retired 19 in a row, so he had the perfect game going through.
Troy
six.
guy hit a line drive over the shortstop's head, and second batter of the seventh inning to break up the perfect game. And everybody else I was wondering how many people were keeping up with it. Apparently everybody in the stadium.
Well, he got a standing ovation. Sure did. And Alabama looks strong. They look like they've got a nucleus of a real good team, and hopefully our Troy team can rebound. And they've got 3 games this week against a very good team out of Atlanta.
Point, Mike, that I don't think Troy's got 2 races, and I don't think Troy threw them against Alabama.
No, they didn't. They didn't throw their aces. I think they threw 6 pitchers.
They were just
maybe 7.
Sometimes they do bullpen by community. They were just throwing a lot of guys that would go 1 inning or 2 innings.
Yeah.
And
they had a kid from Opp that pitched well for Troy. He's a left-handed kid. I thought he pitched pretty well for Troy yesterday. And
so you can't read too much into one baseball game early in the year.
Or any game in baseball, you get a good pitcher and you rally behind a good pitcher, and that has a lot to do with winning in college and high school baseball. Of course, Charles Henderson's baseball team has a new coach, a new assistant coach.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good assistant coach.
Yeah, exactly right.
Coach Smart.
Mark Smart. Yeah, exactly. And, of course, his son's the head coach, and now he's the assistant coach at Charles Henderson. And I know they're glad to have him.
And then Brian Meadows, I think, is the pitching coach.
Yeah, that's right.
The only guy from Pike County that's ever made the major league.
Yeah. So it's going to be real interesting today as Rhett Harrelson's Enterprise Wildcats go up against Spain Park Jaguars. And so... you can look here and tell that all of them have a fine team. Actually, Spain Park is led by a 6'9" center named Colin Turner. He's a 6'9" center, and then right behind him, he's got a 6'7" 6'7" forward. So this is the way it looks.
Call out their height.
They're 6'7", 6'9", and 6'6". It's starting lineup. And
one of the tallest high school teams you're going to see.
Yeah, that's right. Out of Spain Park, you know they're good because they had to play all those Birmingham schools during the regular season, and of course the Enterprise are led by some outstanding players.
Who were the tallest people at Charles Henderson High School when you were in high school?
Gosh, 6'1", probably at the most. Jerry Allen was about 6'1". The Jerry Barron, who played about 3 years before me, or 4 years, he was one of the tallest players we ever had. He was about 6'4", 6'5".
It's rare to have these tall people.
Sure is, and
well, I'm gonna tell you who they were when I was in high school. You ready?
yeah,
In my class, Benny Thomas. Everybody, a lot of people remember Benny. He was 6'6", played on the basketball team. He's married to Valerie Elder, Wanda Elder's sister, who works at Troy Bank and Trust.
yep,
Benny, 6'6", was a really good center. And then the class below him had two of my good friends that were both 6'6" or 6'5", Chuck Norris.
yeah.
His nickname was 12, which is named after the 12 Tower, the channel WSFA 12 Tower. I think Chuck he's at least 6'5".
Yeah, he was tall. Yeah.
Then Bill O'Rourke moved to Troy and lived on Crow Hill, and he was 6'5" or 6'6". So
Yeah.
we had three that were in the 6'6" area.
Yeah. Doug Branson, who coached at Charles Henderson last year, is a member of the Enterprise coaching staff. Of course, Red Harrelson, the head coach, and John Wadsworth, Doug Branson, Clark Quisenberry, and Spud Cooper are the assistant coaches at Enterprise. So it's going to be a great game today in Birmingham with the 7A boys, and should be a good one.
Well, if Enterprise can, Spain Park's got to be favored. If Enterprise can win that would be.
Look at that bracket over there. Let's find out exactly what time they play. Enterprise
They're
play.
playing right when we get off the air at 10:30. Well, in 2 hours after we get off the air.
Play at 10:30 today from Birmingham. You got time to get up there.
And then the winner of Enterprise Spain Park will play the winner of Baker. Where's Baker, Mike?
Baker Mobile. They got a real good team this year too.
Well,
Real
they're
good.
31-3, so you're right. And then James Clemens, where are they?
They're from Madison, Alabama.
Okay, that's
Up around
Huntsville.
Decatur, Huntsville.
So the Baker James Clemens winner will play the Enterprise Spain Park winner.
Yeah.
And then if my friends at Vestavia Hills can beat Auburn, they will play the winner of Davidson and Hoover in the other 7A girls semifinal. Davidson is 31-2, and Hoover is 31-3.
Oh boy.
I'm looking at all the records of all the boys and the girls teams. The team of all 1A through 7A boys and girls, that's 28 teams in boys, 28 teams in girls, that's 56 teams. The team that won the most games was the Vestavia Hills girls that won 32 games. Several teams won 31 or 30. So they're playing a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
Vestavia Hills girls have played 34 games. The Hoover girls have played 34 games.
Yeah, that's right. And,
Spain Park, who is playing Enterprise in a couple of hours, has played 34 games. Enterprise has played 29.
yeah. Most time is they've played in some tournaments and so forth, and but very interesting to see. And
You can always count on Michael to pull out some interesting stuff. And his observation that you have about 6 or 7 Division I basketball programs in Alabama that could have 20-win basketball teams this year that needs to be a big story right there.
Exactly right. And again, good luck to you as Final Four basketball. And I got excited. You talk about Charles Simpson girls made it to the Final Four, but then right here in our neck of the woods, Ozark, of course, was beaten the first round in 5A, and then Enterprise is a 7A school. They play in a big game today, probably the biggest game of the whole tournament against Spain Park. Gonna be a good one.
The Charles Simpson girls are good in basketball and have been for a while, but I think they're watch the Charles Simpson girls softball team this year. They were pretty competitive last year. They got a new coach who's doing an outstanding job, and I think just about everybody on that team came back this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Charles Simpson girls softball team made some noise this year.
To tell you some things that Denise Jones has done since she's been the coach at Charles Henson. Last year she lost a heartbreaker to Carver of Birmingham, but previously she won the state championship in 2 out of the last 4 years. So, great, she's won two, and then she lost to Central Tuscaloosa and Birmingham.
She's been in the Final Four. So
that's right.
She's won 2 state championships. Could have won 3.
That's right. So quite a job by Denisa and so forth.
And they didn't, I'm gonna tell you now, when you were in high school and when I was in high school, they didn't hardly have any girls' sports. We had a girls' basketball team. Coach Locklear coached it, my history teacher. But that is, and then they had girls could. Yeah. Well, they had a track program for girls. And they had a tennis team for girls. I'm going to say that was the girls' sports. Yeah, well, when I was in school, there was a young lady who most everybody knew. Her name was Sally Reeves. Sally Reeves, of course, and she was moved here from Andalusia, and she was Jerry Allen, who was a great athlete here at Charles Henson for all 3 years he was in high school. They were. Was Jerry in your class?
Yeah, Jerry was in my class, and Sally Reeves was in, I think it's the next class. She was right behind us. But if they had girls' sports, she'd have been a great one because she was really a real good basketball player. We used to shoot with her a lot.
I'm going to tell you, when I was in high school, we had one great female athlete. Wanda Elder.
Yeah, everybody remembers her. You're right.
Now, she should have played basketball. I don't think she did. But she was on the track team, and I think she did the hurdles, she did the 400 meters, she did the long jump. Excuse me.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, Troy, Alabama. If you're looking for a career in the trucking industry, Wiley Sanders Truck Lines is the place to go.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Oh, friends, you don't want to miss this. The $79 Eliminator Sale this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. And yes, you can get a car for $79. Done deal. Or $79 down or $79 a month. Get there and pre-register at 8 a.m. At 9:45, we open the gates. Find the vehicle you're in love with, and you'll have first chance when the Eliminator comes around at 10 a.m. sharp. Slashing prices. Don't worry about the weather. Just be there. Call right now for details. 334-403-4646. It's this Saturday only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy. Don't miss it.
Shipping Wars is back and bigger than ever.
More work, more money.
These shippers have a long road ahead. Who will come out on top?
If we can get it there on time, we'll make some good money.
Shipping Wars. New episodes Tuesdays at 10. Only on A&E.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
Montgomery, get ready for WWE Saturday Night's main event. The women of Raw take center stage as big-time Bex, the EST, and the Nightmare collide for the Raw Women's Championship. Plus,
I am a revolutionary. I am a visionary.
Seth freaking Rollins. It's WWE Saturday Night's main event, April 23rd. Tickets and Superstar Experience packages on sale now.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Well, we got to talk about it.
Back to our show, brought to you by our good friends at Bird Drugs. And, of course, Bird Drugs, as we mentioned, are cooking eggs and bacon and grits right now, and it's delicious.
Get you a link sausage?
Yeah,
biscuit.
that's right. Or if you want to get you some sausage, you go pick up your phone and call 566-0101, and that's the deli at Bird Drugs, and they'll have that.
Have it ready for you.
They'll have it ready for you. You pick up the sack and head north.
You probably just say, put it on my account.
Yeah, you folks from Enterprise can drop by there this morning and get you some sausage and biscuits, and I promise you, you'll love it.
Well, we were talking, somehow we got off on track, and I was mentioning my classmate, Wanda Elder, who was a track star at Charles Simpson and then got a scholarship to Troy University and was a track star at Troy University, too.
Yeah.
But you were telling me a little bit more about how great the Talberts were.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you how great Jerry Allen was. Jerry Allen, my senior year in high school, he went to Auburn for the state track meet in Auburn, and in 4A you had in 4A you had
you're on Today in L.A.
Richmond Flowers. You had Richmond Flowers, a nationally ranked hurdler, and you had in 3A you had Jerry Allen, who that year won the 3A state championship in the hurdles and the low and the high hurdles.
Wow.
He won both of them.
You know, I'm kin to the late Jerry Allen because he was married to my cousin.
Boy, he was a real good athlete, and he won the state track meet, the hurdles, the high and the low hurdles. And then on the class ahead of us, Richmond Flowers won the state high school.
For those who don't know, Richmond those of a certain age will know who Richmond Flowers is, but young people, Richmond Flowers' daddy was the Attorney General of the state of Alabama and went through a controversial tenure for some reason. I can't remember why.
Well, he also his dad was a civil rights, very strong. You know, his daddy did a lot of things to help our fellow man, and but what Richmond Flowers did, he won the state high and low hurdles, and his junior year and his senior year running the high hurdles, he hit a hurdle and fell down, and everybody on the track passed him, and instead of feeling sorry for him, he got up back on his feet and finished second.
Wow.
And the guy that finished first had a scholarship from Lanier, had a scholarship to run it.
He later had a good career. He played football at Tennessee.
But Jerry, though, won the 3A high and low hurdles.
Well, tell me about Rip Talbert and Pat Talbot. They were state champions.
Rip Talbot was the state champion throwing the discus. He was a great athlete, and he threw the discus. I want to tell you something he did in junior high school. In I would say 1962, Coach Marvin Wiley took a track team to Montgomery to run in the state junior high track meet. And I don't know if they do that anymore, but it's mostly
junior high.
Junior high. Well, let me tell you, they had ninth grade, 8th grade, 7th grade. And, of course, most all these players, the good ones were 9th graders. Well, let's say this. In that state track meet, Rip Talbot won the state discus. He won the state high jump. And he won the state in the throwing the shot put. He won all three of those events. And we had a guy named Danny Nicastro. There was Danny Nicastro, Joe Dotson, Richard Williford, and Frankie Nicastro, his brother, won the state 4x110, the 440-yard relay. and Troy won that, and they won enough points that they beat all the big schools, ninth grade teams, the Bellingraph, Cloverdale, all the good Baldwin and all those big schools of Montgomery and Mobile and all of it. Those 8 participants from Troy, Alabama, that Coach Marvin Wiley took to the state junior high track meet, Troy won the whole thing against all those big schools.
Wow, amazing!
And it was, and believe it or not,
Marvin and Patty still live in Auburndale, Florida.
They still live in Auburndale, Florida. They're still living, doing very well. And but Marvin Wiley was a great coach in our junior highs.
I can remember Kenny Smith was the fastest guy in my class, and he did well in track too. He never won a state championship, but I think he got to the finals of the 100 meters, and he could do. He was good in the long jump. You said Dickie Calhoun won the state championship. I will say that you're right. Dick Calhoun held the record in the state broad jump, 23 feet 2 inches. It was later broken by Richmond Flowers. Wow.
But he's so humble, but he wouldn't talk about it much unless you brought it up. But he was a great athlete, Dickie Calhoun, at Lanier.
Yeah, his son Richard had scholarship offers from Mississippi State, Duke, and Vanderbilt, and went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's right. And he was an outstanding high school player.
Well, we got to mention. I talk about my friend Scott Rainey all the time. It was in my class. Was a great athlete and all-state safety. But his big brother Todd Rainey, who's 2 years older, was also a great football player on the state championship team as a free safety. But he was really better as an athlete in track, where I don't know if he won the state championship in the discus or shot put in high school. If he didn't,
but he was one of the top ones,
because he went to Troy University on the track team, and I'm pretty sure he won Gulf South Conference championships and was set records and was a star track athlete throwing the discus and the shot put. And that's a guy that could run probably, it was weighed 205 pounds, that could run a 4.740.
Yeah, he was a good athlete, no question.
A good punter, too.
But all of those Rainey's from Greenville, they had Jack Rainey, a banker. He was an outstanding athlete. They had Tuffy Rainey, Cecil Tuffy Rainey was also a very good athlete, and they all came out of the same nest somewhere, and they had an older brother that was a good player, good basketball player too.
Todd was fast. Scott wasn't really. Scott was fast. He would have been a for real athlete, but he still had. Scott had 8 interceptions our senior year and made first team All-State.
I'll tell you something else he did. He was a backup quarterback and was a good one.
No, that was Todd.
Todd.
Yeah, he and Todd's junior year, Barry Tucker split time at quarterback, and then the senior year they just let Barry.
Yeah.
Barry split time actually with John Clark, who was a year ahead of me, played a fair amount at quarterback. Yeah. But they moved Todd to free safety, and he just played.
Yeah, that's right. The coach Jeff Cote.
They did play quarterback the year before.
Yeah, Coach Jeff Cote.
Did Jeff Cote do the drills in summer practice he used to make us do called Hurt and Hustle, when we're all just like laying on the field for about 30 minutes after practice?
I remember belly flops after practice.
Yeah, we used to do Hurt and Hustle every day in summer in the morning practice. I mean, like literally guys were just passed out on the ground for like 20 minutes after practice, because that was like the most intense thing we did in summer workouts. It was crazy.
Now, I'm reading a biography of Coach Bryant by Al Browning, and it talks about how tough the off-season workouts were. They didn't lift weights much back then, like in the late 50s or early 60s.
That's right.
But in the off-season, they said they would have a 50-minute training session in some old gym with no air conditioning and no windows. And they'd go from station to station, and there was no breaks between stations. And one of them was wrestling. I don't know what the other stations were, but they said that pretty much every player that went through that every day would end up throwing up in the trash can. By and I have you ever done much wrestling? There's not a tougher sport than wrestling.
We did a little of it, and you know what we would do, we would get after somebody for something like 60 seconds. You know, really just trying to throw him and all that. We did some of that.
Well, we had the best PE program in junior high in America under Coach Whitman.
Yeah.
And so that was my exposure to wrestling. Is we would have 3-week unit on wrestling. That was enough for me to say, no wrestling for Bill.
James Lucas, you know, James, he was an outstanding track star. Of course, football player too. Played at Stanford. We probably don't talk about James Lucas enough. He's an outstanding athlete. And old Johnny Worthington was pretty good too, and that was his best friend. And
remember when James would outrun guys when he was a Dixie youth baseball coach. He'd outrun everybody on the team.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. And he was a little heavy then, but he still. Did you ever look at his legs? All you had to do is see his legs.
Jimmy and James were just alike. Jimmy Lucas and James. Tom is a little bit taller.
Yeah. But, boy, he was quite an athlete. And T. McPherson,
well, there was track athletes.
What a good one.
Sincade Pennington, probably from his freshman year to his senior year would have, I wonder how many state championships he won in the 100-meter dash or the 60-meter dash.
He was the fastest man in the state of Alabama at least 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
Well, his junior year of football, you know, he tore his knee up.
Yeah.
My senior year against Hobbs, and never really was the same. You know, he opened the season that year rushing for 370 or 380.
Yeah. Let me tell you this.
He hurt his knee.
Yeah. I think as a freshman, though, he was one of the 5 fastest people in the whole state of Alabama. And
I think he was. I think you could almost say he was the fastest.
Yeah, well, I know he won the state championship at least 1 or 2 years. So
sure
he was the fastest. And then I remember the year he won it in 3A or whatever they were then.
Always
and
remember.
I looked at the times and the classification above him that won it. And Sincade's time was faster, so Sincade was the fastest guy in Alabama.
Here we are
it's hard to believe Sincade was playing fullback for Terry Bowden by the time he left there.
Yeah,
that's hard to believe.
That's right. Yeah, he was the first player signed by Terry Bowden when he took over at Auburn. I remember that. And
you know, Sincade just played at the wrong time. You know, he was a back that should have played in a spread offense.
Yeah, that's right. You flip it to him. He was a back that you should flip it to him and let him run to daylight.
That's
you know.
Right,
he's a guy you had to get to in open space.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Boy, I tell you, he was a great one. And let me tell you this.
He would have been so much better off playing for Troy's offensive side than Auburn.
Mike, ask anybody from Opp or Andalusia or Elba. Ask them how good Ronaldo Sincade Pennington was.
Dude, ask Blunt. He went 80 yards twice against Blunt.
I think he came close to 300 yards. I think he might have gone over 300 yards.
That's a good point. He was in the wrong time because these spread offenses now, you know, they spread it out and then they slip a handoff once in a while to a running back, and then there's all this space, and they're off and running now.
Let me tell you.
I always remember the late John Johnson. It's still hard to believe that, but the offense when Charles Simpson played for the state championship that year, if he would have played in that offense that John Johnson played in, it would just been unbelievable.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I mean, catching the ball.
In space, they catching the ball in space. Oh boy, nobody was gonna get Sincade. And no question.
Oh yeah.
We could talk about him the entire show.
Yeah, we'll have to call Sincade one day. I think he's still at Smith Station.
Want to mention all our good friends and out there that support our show. We appreciate you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in LA. Good luck, Enterprise, today.